To go live. Okay, we are
Say stream.
live. That's it.
That's it.
Okay, that's it. Okay, wait. I have no idea how does one see if
There's people.
if there's people.
There's at least 200 people listening right now. I
Oh,
think
there's three people. There's three
really,
people who have joined. Oh my god.
or is it us and
Who
one more?
are you? Who are you people? Drop
Is
it in the comments.
don't
Where
you
you
think it's us
from?
both? Don't you think it's
Is
us
it
both
you,
and one more?
Justinas? Is it you, Justinas, who has joined? And
Most
Adam.
likely.
Okay, cool. Okay, shall we?
Great. I think it's the time.
Yes, let's do it. Okay, guys. Thank you for everyone who has joined our Startups IRL podcast, brought to you by Founders Persist, the first episode
Whoop, whoop.
officially. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, Founders Persist is a pan-European community for founders, investors, operators, builders, doers, and everybody in between. So if you want to join, check out our LinkedIn page. Okay, yeah, I'm Vizma. I'm the co-founder of Founders Persist, and today I'm joined by Aga, who is also a co-founder of Founders Persist. But more importantly, she's also a founder of Naga Operations, her latest venture. She is a serial entrepreneur and a veteran in the Berlin startup scene. So
Ouch.
that is another small feat on her side as well. So yeah, welcome, Aga.
Hi, I'm happy to be here, and I am excited about our talk today because I think we have a lot of fun topics to discuss. And
Yeah, exactly. I think that let's just let
yeah,
people know today we will quickly cover a little bit about Founders Persist and what we do and who we are. And then Aga is going to share some amazing startup wisdom with us, which I think we all need. Wisdom in life, wisdom in love, but most importantly about startups. That's the most
yeah.
important. And then we will have some fun things in store for you guys as well.
Exactly. And let's kick it off with some information interviewing you at first about Founders Persist. Tell us at the beginning, why the hell did you start Founders Persist at all? What was the aim? Why? Be honest.
Yeah, I ask myself that question every single day, Aga.
Yeah.
Why? Why, Vizma? Listen, I am gonna actually be honest for once.
Finally.
Finally, that day has come. Listen, uh, it really started out of fear. I'm gonna be very honest. And if you kind of trace back the original post that I made about
Mhm.
Founders Persist, you will understand why. Because
Yeah.
it coincided with a very particular weekend, infamous weekend at this point. Which was the infamous conversation between President Trump and President Zelensky. And
Mhm.
even though Founders Persist has nothing to do with politics per se, I think it really opened a lot of people's eyes, and also mine included, about the very rapidly changing global landscape.
Mhm.
Um, and I think these kind of situations, you can react in two ways, right? There's one way where you cry in a corner and, the despair is real. And I
Yeah.
certainly
Wow.
did that exactly for a few hours as well. But I think you can also look at it as a little bit of an opportunity, to kind of maybe reinvigorate Europe a little bit, right? We've
Yeah.
we've kind of maybe been asleep at the wheel, if you will, for some time. And I think that this is a real opportunity. And ultimately, the biggest advantage, the biggest strength of Europe, I think, lies within unity. I think that
Oh
this
yeah.
is what makes us special, what makes us really, really stand out on the global stage. Separately, we are never as strong and as capable when we are together. And I think that this is the thing that I've identified about, like, European startup scene in particular. It's very fragmented, right? So there's really cool things happening, but they're kind of happening very locally. So we have something cool
Right.
happening in Tallinn, and in Warsaw, in Paris, in
Yeah.
Amsterdam, here, there, everywhere. But I think what we're lacking is this kind of like overarching pan-European community that can come together and that can do cool things and, make things happen. And essentially, this is what, Founders Persist is shaping to become in the future.
That sounds great. You talk about unity, but who shouldn't then be
Oh,
part of Founders Persist? Who are we excluding? Tell
oh,
me.
Jesus, let's go down the list. Eh?
The
Listen,
blacklist.
exactly. Listen, I think that we are a very early, organization. So I think that the people who maybe shouldn't join at this point are people that maybe don't want to take a very active role into
Mm,
shaping this community, right? And what we stand for and what we do and that kind of stuff. So if you are kind of like person that wants to sit on the sidelines, then maybe for the time being, this is not the place,
mhm.
that I would recommend joining. But if you are somebody who really wants to get stuck in and get things done, then this is a place for you.
Okay, and what about the name and about founders? We've heard a lot about, oh no, I'm not a founder, I cannot join. What do you say to that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've heard that time and time again, and this is what I say always. It's like everybody's welcome. If you are somebody who is a founder, who is aspiring to be a founder, somebody who is an operator or a doer in already existing startup, or even not in a startup at all, and you're just curious about getting in that industry as well, then everybody's 100% welcome. So yeah, so don't be deceived by the name.
Exactly. So tell me more about your beef with US. Like it inspired you to found this community, but what's the beef? Tell me. Like what's the part that
What's
makes
the
you
tea?
the most
What's the
angry? Yeah,
tea?
exactly. Give
What's
me the
the
tea.
goss? That's what
Exactly.
that's what Gen Z says. What's the
Oh yeah.
goss?
Oh my.
Okay,
Oh my.
listen. I don't think I have that much of a piping tea to deliver today. Listen, I fundamentally I kind of reject the premise of this kind of winner takes it all
Yeah.
mentality. I think that there is more than enough opportunity, more than enough money, more than enough problems to go around for solving. So I don't like to think of this in terms of like, okay, now Europe's gonna conquer, like America or whatever, or
Yeah.
somebody's gonna come on top or whatnot. Like I don't like that kind of mentality, and I don't subscribe to that. So I really believe that true value is created through partnership, through working together, through learning from each other. I mean, US has built the most amazing, incredible, tech startups of the past,
Yeah.
century essentially. And they have so much wealth of experience, and both things that we can learn from the good side of it, and also maybe not so much good, right? So it's like there's so much that we can learn and that we should learn. And so yeah, so for me it's more about like building those bridges, making those partnerships, making things happen that way, rather than being too competitive with each other.
Yeah, I think that's there is nothing to compete against. It's more like just it's not exclusive and it's not
Exactly.
excluding each other. It's actually working together and making sure that the spotlight is shining even brighter on all the parts
Exactly.
that and all the
Exactly.
beautiful ideas that are being built, right? Mm.
And it's also like there's so many problems to go around. Like
Yeah,
there's so much to solve. Like it's impossible that one country is now going to be solving everything or whatever. It's like
exactly.
it's an illusion. So I think yeah, working
And
together,
it's also
dream
pretty fun
team.
because you are right now in Paris, right? And I'm in Berlin, and we have also members that are all over Europe, and it's really fun that we are able to build this community that is truly international. Because it's not like I am German and I am in Germany, and you are French and in Paris. It's even
Exactly.
harder than and farther than that, right? So it's exciting how international we can get this community to become. But to sum it
100%.
up, to sum up a little bit about Founders Persist and everything. Also, if anyone has any comments or questions, please send them our way or um, write us after. We are open to discuss further. But Vizma, tell us, like, if Founders Persist had a Tinder bio, what would it be?
Oh, it would be 2 meters tall, slender, likes walks on the beach.
Oh God, hot.
That's exactly that. No, I mean, I think that if it would have a Tinder bio, I think it would just say that yeah, it's a pan-European community of builders, of founders, of doers, of operators, investors, enthusiasts, helping the next generation of European startups grow and scale and, make impact.
And who doesn't agree that it's sexy should not join? Because that sounds very sexy.
Exactly. So if you are 2 meters, go for it. Go for it, guys.
Wait, what are we looking here for? We have to discuss that later again.
It's okay. It's okay. It can be both. Okay, Aga, let's pivot. Let's get to the main story of today, and that is your story and your story about your entrepreneurship journey. And I mean, first, let's just recap a little bit, because you have been part of the Berlin startup scene for a long time. Not to say too long, because we're all young and fresh, of course.
Of
But
course.
like, tell me how that's journey been for you.
Yeah, it has been a journey, that I can say. It has been now 14, almost 15 years that I am here in the startup scene in Berlin. And I always say that I've been raised by the startup. I'm a startup child of Berlin specifically. I worked in different companies that became unicorns later, companies that were closed after I left them, or even during, and so on and so forth. So I've had seen the startup life from a beginning to end and in its glory, but I also have been since some time now working in scale ups and in companies that go into the next stage and scale up and build their ideas bigger, and also shut down later on and are not able to get further, but also amazing teams. And what's the best part about it is I have learned so much in such a high speed that it's crazy. I am right now almost 35, and I feel like I lived already a whole career of things that I learned over the last 15 years, just because working in startups takes you in, sucks you in. And we can talk about the mental health some other day, but you're also learning a lot, and that's the exciting part. So I was privileged enough to work my way up quickly, learn, and by being resourceful, actually being able to tap in different parts and learning the whole startup world, and it's super exciting. And of course, you're at the edge of the innovation, which is very sexy. That would be also a good Tinder bio, because I think that was fun. But yeah, it has been a journey, and I am ready for the next 15 years. But definitely
Definitely.
changes a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But Aga, like, looking back at your own journey, like, I mean, you've held C-level positions for the past like 10 plus years, right? Like, in different startups. You have also founded startups yourself, and, like, really been kicking ass, and especially in operations and so on. So I mean, there's one of a kind, and there's definitely one of a kind of Aga for sure. But maybe if you can summarize for me, what has been sort of the most overrated aspect of working in startups, and maybe what has been the most underrated one for you?
Oh, gladly. I think the most overrated thing is to be a CEO and to start a startup. I have nothing against, and I love startups and building new ideas, but there is this kind of, I don't know if I can call it stigma or something, that if you want to be successful and you want to have a startup and you want to build new idea, you must be the CEO, you must be the founder, you must be the perfect leader to actually do and some impact and change something. And although I have mad respect for anyone who does that, it is a lot of work and it's amazing, and there is a perfect kind of people that can do it and it's natural to them. I think it's a little bit overrated because not everyone is suitable or perfect for this role, and I think we should be more honest with each other. What are our abilities actually, and what are actually our strengths, and how we can contribute to make an idea happen and stay with us? Because there's a lot of ideas in the world, there's a lot of great problem solving ideas, but many of them die because of different reasons, but mostly the reason that, yeah, okay, I have an idea, wow, I now even have money, but now what? Now either is the whole mini team is completely burnt out and no one can do anything, or you don't have the people that actually can make it happen, or you lose interest in it because you're another person that creates the stuff that you have visions about, right? So I think that's the most overrated thing, and it's not like it shouldn't be there, it should be there, but it's not the only way. And therefore the most underrated thing is the opposite of that, and that's the team and the operations behind that actually make that's not sexy. It's not sexy to talk about, oh, how are we gonna make this product, how are we gonna deliver this product, how are we gonna make it work internally to make it happen, because the sexy part is to show the MVP, to show the prototype, to talk to the investors, to go to the events, to stand on stage and say, hey, here we are and we're solving the world hunger. But no one talks about how actually are we solving
the sausage is made.
Exactly. How are you going to grind that sausage? How are you going to put it in casing? If you want to talk about food, I can talk long. So I think that's the most underrated part, and it's also the underfunded part, because if you save money, you save money in the not in the shiny positions. You save money in the positions of people that actually do the work that you have thought about and figure it out for you, how this vision comes to life. And
100%.
that's something I wish that would have a little bit more spotlight.
100%.
But I'm also a little bit here biased, because I am an operational fanatic. I have to say that's my disclaimer why I'm talking like this. I am a crazy operations person and a doer, so and therefore that might be a bit biased, but that's my perspective.
100%. No, I 100% agree. I think that when it comes to your own personal development and kind of your own career development, I think that it's very important to understand what really matters to you and what you're good at and where you can make the most impact. I think that that's what I found throughout my career. And, it's obviously been limited in some ways, but I found that that's where I get the most joy and the most fulfillment if I have positions that allow me to make impact, right? And it doesn't really matter what title that entails, as long as I'm really deeply engaged with the thing that I'm doing day to day. And I think that that's the important part.
Yeah, and you use your skills that you are the most comfortable
100%.
with, right? And you know yourself.
But on the flip side, lady,
Yeah.
you have been a CEO many times. What's up with the beef for you with the role of CEO? Why? Why are you rejecting it?
I just don't want to be it. I, as I said, I have big respect for people who are, but I suck at sales. And being a CEO is, in a big part of being a CEO is being a really good hype woman, man, saleswoman, man. And I just suck at it. I can do it. I hate it. And I don't want to do it. And it's just a skill that I've tried to learn, and a skill that I have no heart for. So it's hard to get over that, and also realize, okay, that's not my strength. Um, what my strength is when I work with visionary CEOs saying, hey, let's do that, do it. And I say, okay, done. In 3 months, you'll have here, that, and this, and that's how we're going to make it happen. Do you know how to make it happen, Aga? No, but I'll find out, and I'll solve the problem, and I'll make it work, right? That's where I shine, and that's what I love. And I used to think that my goal is to become a CEO, and that's it. And I'm super happy that I had my company that I started. I supported. I had this international team all over Europe and South Africa even, but we closed it. And I'm happy we closed it, because I learned how this whole process of founding a company up to closing a company works in Germany. That's another story, exactly, that we can talk in a second. But I've also took over a company that I was a CEO of, and where I built a team and everything. And even now, when I founded a new company, I made myself not the CEO of the company. I said, no, you're gonna be it, because
intentional.
Yeah, because it's not my goal, and I don't think it's my strength, and I think it's the biggest power that I have to be able to say what's my strength and what's not my strength, and that's it. And that's why yeah, no.
Yeah, well, fair enough, lady. I think that there's enough CEOs in the world. We need
I
we
think
need
so
more
too.
operations people.
I think there is a
Listen,
lot of visionaries. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, exactly. A lot of
Mhm.
people with great ideas. Okay, but maybe if somebody's watching and is a little bit earlier in their startup journey and is maybe burnt out, or maybe kind of, counting the days until they can jump ship, like what would be your biggest kind of advice for them to, to carry on, or, how can they manage it in the startup world in Berlin?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, there is a few things. First of all, I would say don't put so much pressure on yourself, because we are taught to pressure ourselves to become the best version of ourselves, right? And do the best we can and be always at the best top level. And I'm saying that as a person who had a burnout with 27. So I know the feeling. I also know that but I also know how important it is not to give up and to believe in what you're doing. So not to be so negative and say like listen to your body and fuck that world of business. No, if you have an idea and you have a project that you are passionate about, then work on it and have perseverance, have this kind of like strength to say I'm going to continue doing it no matter what people say. But think about yourself too a little bit, because it is tough, and finding that balance is, I think, the hardest thing that you can. And in startup world it's even harder. Everyone is saying corporate world will kill you, which I also think. I am convinced that that's what's going to happen. But the startup world can kill you too, and it can kill you on so many levels because it's so much closer to your heart and your personal emotional system. So be careful, but do your thing and believe in yourself. And I think that's the most important thing.
Good. Just do it, as Nike
Nike says.
has said.
Exactly.
Okay, now let's pivot to another part of the event, and this one is brought to you by ChatGPT. ChatGPT kindly get
Thank you.
thank you ChatGPT, thank you OpenAI, or whoever. Uh, ChatGPT has generated some green flags, red flags for us to react to.
Hmm.
So I will read it out. A startup that says we're like the Uber of X in their pitch decks. What's your take, Aga? Is that a red flag or a green flag?
It's a red flag for me. It's a red flag for me so much. I don't know, 10 years, 15 years ago, I would maybe say it's a green flag, because
Okay.
it's like making it very relatable what the way you want to pitch. But nowadays, like, not everyone has to be the Uber and the Tinder of everything. And when I read that, my eyes roll back to my back of my head and again, and think like, huh, could you figure out something easier or
So you're
better?
you're swiping left on this one.
I'm definitely swiping left. It's too red flag for me.
Yeah, I think that for me it's like it depends. I'm not a very smart person, so sometimes it helps
Oh,
me digest
stop it.
information. If it's very kind of like very high level technologically, then sometimes it helps me. So I might swipe right on this one.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
wants to raise money before even validating the idea. What about that?
This one is interesting, because by definition, I should say red flag, but I don't think so. I think it's more of an orange flag, something in between, because depends on the idea and how you're validating the idea. There was many ideas and many projects that didn't get funding because they didn't have validated the idea, because they didn't have the means to validate the idea. And I think there is also many things that can be validated by life and experience of people that you're building it. So there was it depends. It's a typical university answer. It depends, really, in this case.
It does
And
depend.
yeah, I cannot say left or right.
Yeah, exactly. I tend to agree. There are some, like very early ideas that might require like additional research and funding for that and so on. So yeah, potentially that might be a orange flag.
Yeah.
Okay, has a Notion dashboard for everything.
Oh,
As
that's
an
funny.
operations person, how does that sound?
And a Notion freak. I'm an official self-announced Notion freak, and I would say that must be a green flag. It must be green, but be careful because you cannot get stuck in managing your own processes and your documentation only. So I think it is very helpful, and it is really, really good in actually building documentation for your work because it saves you time and lets your teams develop. But don't take it too far. There is too far and there is too much. But
like
yeah,
over engineering of the
yeah,
exactly.
exactly. And I've done that myself too, so I know how too far can be not so good for the teams when you generate 100 200 Notion pages and no one has even time to read them, and you're frustrated because no one reads that, but it has to serve a purpose. So yeah, but a red
Exactly.
flag, a green flag definitely here.
Yeah, 100% agree. I love Notion as well. It's the green flag from my side as well. Okay, let's do a last one. And this one is a
Yes.
classic. This
Mhm.
one we have all heard at some point
Mhm.
in our lives, and that is calls their startup a family.
Ouch. Who
I
hasn't, huh?
think, well, I'm directly swiping
Yeah.
left and
It's a
leaving
red.
the app, and thank you.
Now you are, and me too. It's a red flag. Let's say it out loud. It's a red flag, and it should be a red flag for everyone. But it is very hard, and we've all been there, and we've all suffered the loss and the problems that are connected to it. But if there is one thing that younger people should learn from our experiences is that business is business, family is family, and that's two separate things, and we should see them. Which doesn't mean that you shouldn't be loyal to your company, you should not like your coworkers and have fun at work. I was sitting 14 hours in meetings nonstop, and if those meetings wouldn't have humor and be fun, I would die internally. So it has to be fun, but it's not family, and it's the hard truth. You have to just accept that.
100% agreed. Yeah, exactly. You can be dedicated and loyal and, really, really happy with the work that you're doing, but you always have to keep some space.
Yes.
Okay, so to wrap it up, Aga, what, after all of these years, after all of these lessons, after all of this great, amazing experience that you've had in the startup world, what keeps you going? What keeps you positive about still keeping with it, solving problems, and what makes you happy and joyful?
So many things. I love cooking, for example. No, I'm just joking. I think the most fun part is actually being able to create stuff from scratch, new ideas, new things, and being in the startup scene and being so close to innovation. You have this feeling you are actually doing that's something that no one ever did before, which is very exciting, and it gives you the good kind of thrill and everything. So it's the exciting part. But what keeps me going is actually that words become reality. And because I'm such a doer by heart, right? So there are so many people talking, and I love to make those words happen and make things reality and say, hey, we actually made that. We didn't just sit drinking wine and talking about how amazing it would be to have that. We actually created it on its out there live, and that's what's keeping me going, because I love creating from scratch and I love supporting teams create new things.
Very nice. Okay, guys, I think that this is the end of our little first live event. So I
Yes.
just want to give a few last thoughts about Founders Persist. So if you are keen to joining the network, please reach out to us on LinkedIn or visit our landing page. Yeah, we are recruiting all the members that we can, so please
Yes.
do so. And thank you so much, Aga, for your time today. And this is definitely not the last time that we're meeting in this format.
I hope so. Thank you so much, Vizma, too. And
Thank you,
see you next
guys.
time.
See you next time. Bye bye, guys.
Bye.